Look, I opened this jar of rotten baby food, and well, a butterfly came out.
Well, in a free enterprise economy, it's necessary for survival. You can't create anything if you don't promote it.
Right.
And it's be communistic if you couldn't have ads. It'd just be the committees that make all the decisions.
Welcome to the Comedians and Elevators podcast. I've got my guest, Rick, and I can't pronounce your name. Rick, how do I pronounce your last name?
Kneisley.
Ah.
Nothing like it looks.
That's why you got me in the first one. So Rick, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. I graduated from Purdue and got a degree in economics and was offered a job as a stockbroker. And they sent me to New York, and I trained for 3 months and became a stockbroker. That was my vocation. But my heart and soul were with writing and story, which was my advocation. And in 1990, we finally got to Los Angeles, and I took a 3-day seminar with Professor Richard Walters, taught me all about screenwriting. I wrote a feature, sent it to him, and he called me back a week later and said, "This is great. You did a good job. You followed the rules." And I said, "What's next?" And he said, "Next, you got to get an agent." Well, why do I need an agent? Because they're the conduit to the decision makers. You can't walk into a studio with a script and say, "Hey, take a look at this." You got to go through an agent. So he said, when I said, how do you get an agent? He said, "Well, you have to send out a lot of query letters." So I rushed home and looked up query in the dictionary because I had no idea what it meant. And turns out it means that it's something you're asking permission for from somebody that's higher up than you. And this is the truth. Over a 14-year period, and remember, I'm working full time. This is just like the advocation. I sent out 300 query letters for over 14 years. And guess how many replies I got back?
I'm guessing one?
None.
Oh, wow.
14 years, not even a, "Hey, Rick, thanks for inquiring, but we don't need any new writers." They just tossed the query letter, or if it was an email later on, we sent email letters, they just deleted it. Now, I don't know what's going on, but I'm talking about talent agencies in London, Hollywood, Austin, you name it. I tried all kinds of things, and I could not get through the gatekeepers for them to look at my work.
So I got a question, Rick, about that.
Yes.
Were you using a Yahoo email submitting
Yes.
those So I got to tell you, I am unable to reply back to your Yahoo email based off of my website's email. So Yahoo is very discriminatory. So maybe they were replying, but they got back return to sender. I don't know. That could have been part of the storyline the whole time.
No, I think I would have had problems with other people. Everything else in Yahoo for 30 years has worked fine. So I don't think
Yahoo works fine. They're gatekeeping as well.
Yeah. So anyway, that was pretty discouraging, but I never gave up.
Right.
And I kept writing, and I've got a body of work. I've got 3 sitcoms. I've got 2 romantic comedies. One of the both of them really, but one of them I had a professional evaluator take a look at it. And they said, "This is great. It is very comparable to when Harry Met Sally and The Proposal. Brian Williams, Sandra Bullock, Betty White. You remember The Proposal movie?
What year
Maybe
was
not.
it?
It did 317 million worldwide.
Okay.
And my script is being compared to it in energy and tone, and I can't get anybody to look at it. So I finally just said, "Well, I'm going to write a cartoon so I can get my writing out there." Now, if you have time, I'll give you the backstory on cartoons. Do you have time?
Why don't we? We have time. Well, kind of, but should we put it in the context of the podcast structure?
Yes, sure.
All right. Listen, to my regular listeners, I know you don't like when at the beginning of these conversations I ask you to subscribe. None of us like it. I don't like saying it. I don't like it being in here. But it's frustrating. You know what else is frustrating? It's also frustrating when I look in the back end of the YouTube channel and I see the 56% of you that watch frequently haven't yet subscribed. And I know this because I see it in the comments section. You say things like, "I didn't know I didn't subscribe." And that's actually what fuels the show. Basically, it's like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask all the time, because it enables us to build and build and build, and we're going for the long term here. Hit the subscribe button and we'll continue to build this show for you. That's my promise. Thank you to all you guys that do subscribe. It means the world to me. So the whole point of the podcast is to compare and contrast the comic versus the comedian. So I define the comic as any person telling funny jokes versus the comedian who's a funny person telling any jokes. So Rick, would you agree that you start as a comic and evolve into a comedian?
Well, I've never been a comedian. I've always been a comic.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I write sitcoms. I write cartoons. I never get up on stage and try to talk people into laughing. I couldn't do that.
Okay. Well, why don't we put it in context of the first question? So it's about the role of persona in comedy. So how much of the comedian's voice is a character versus their real self?
Um, I don't understand what you're saying. You're gonna have to clear that up.
Well, so the comedian is a character, right? And the comic is possibly the joke teller. Would you agree with that differentiation?
Yeah, I'm not a joke teller.
Right. So, right. So both the comic and the comedian do tell jokes, right? And so the comedian also is a joke teller in a sense, but they also have a comedic character. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Does the comic have a comedic character?
Yes.
Okay. Can what's the difference between the comedic character of the comic and comedian?
Well, somebody that stands up and tells jokes and somebody that writes stories that incorporate jokes. And the characters tell the joke instead of me personally on stage telling the joke.
Got it. So an internal versus external, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense? Do you think
It
that's the
absolutely
answer?
does. Now,
Yeah.
as a comic writer, are you putting yourself in the mind of the comedian or character which may have a comedic character?
No, no. Um,
Okay.
no, I don't know where these characters came from. They come from a higher place and they just come
Uh,
out. And I invented this Jack Bear character who owns an espresso bar outside. He has these friends that come by. And I think, well, you looked at that. You
I
looked at
do.
my, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna put the images on the video when I edit
yeah,
it.
just I want to share real quick. Rick Menard in New Zealand is the creator of the cartoon with his computer. I write everything, and then he turns
Mhm.
it into what you see on the thing. And he's quite brilliant.
So
We've
is
been
it
doing that for 10
copyrighted?
years.
Is it the image is
No,
copyrighted?
no, I don't. My scripts are all copyrighted,
Right.
but the cartoon is not. It's not something I don't worry about anybody copying per se,
Okay.
anything like that. So,
We'll find out if YouTube agrees. Well, let's put
what's
it
the
in some
next question?
context. So punching up versus punching down. Where do comics versus comedians stand on this? So let me put it in some historical context. Did a
Okay.
jealous medieval prince become the first comedian by killing the court jester?
Um, probably did, but I don't see how that's funny.
Oh, it's dark. It would be
Yeah, it's
dark
very
humor
dark.
for sure. It is very
Yeah,
dark. Yeah. So would you think that the audience agreement with the comedian is a form of permission or alignment?
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
don't know how it applies to me, but
Well, you're doing the jokes too, so it definitely applies, right? So the question is
yeah,
where does it apply, really, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, well let's put it in. Let's go to the next one. So cultural translation of comedy. So how do jokes that work in one country bomb in another?
The language, they don't speak the language. That's the literal answer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think people in other countries, and we watch a lot of different shows that stream out of Scandinavia and different places. Um,
Hmm.
they have a different mindset. And what's funny to us is not necessarily funny to them. So I write for America, the United States. I don't know if it would fly in Japan or if it would fly in Sweden or whatever, because they're different, their
Yeah.
lives are different.
So
Is that a
would
good
you?
answer?
That's a great answer for sure. So
Okay.
would you agree that truth is the meaning of facts?
Mm, no, I wouldn't
Okay.
agree with that.
How
No,
would you define it?
I rarely depend on truth when I'm writing comedy. I make it up, and I'm trying to entertain people. I'm not trying to be a truth teller.
Well, that's kind of the question, right? Is truth even what we define it as normally in the context? Like you're assuming you think you would argue that truth is universal, right?
Sure.
But if there's three elements, if I'm asking if truth is the meaning of facts, well, who says what means anything?
I don't know. It's a very deep
Somebody else,
question.
third person. It's purely subjective, right?
Yeah.
So that's really my question. So that's where I'm getting at with that. So maybe there's the crux of the argument. So would you say that comics are more universal while comedians are more culturally specific?
Um, yeah, I would. The guys that stand on stage are, talking about things that go on in everybody in the audience's life. I'm talking about things that are fictional
Hmm.
and didn't happen in anybody's life. I made it up. So,
How
yeah.
do you know for sure that they didn't exist? Maybe they do
Well,
exist in a parallel reality.
I don't, I don't know if they exist, but you know, uh, I don't know. I have a bear who's my lead character. He's never existed, so and he drives my cartoons.
Right. Well, you say you're
So,
getting this, if you're getting this a download from your higher self. Would you agree with that statement?
well, yeah. I mean, what did Bill Gates say? 10,000 hours and you become an expert. You become brilliant at whatever subject you're studying. I've been studying comedy since I was 4 years old,
Mm.
and uh, comic books, and I grew up with Walt Disney and these. He had about 10 of these, and they're a record. And I started playing these when I was 4 years old and followed along in the story. And it was really a morality play, but it got me hooked on cartoons. And I love Donald Duck. And I got every new issue of Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Uncle Scrooge. So my life was cartoons growing up. And so it became kind of my avocation as an adult.
Well, that's it. So maybe there is another dimension where these cartoons really exist. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, I don't think they exist somewhere else, literally. I think our minds are powerful and we can create things that, you know, other people might enjoy, which is what I try hard to do, but they're not reality.
Or not the same reality, but maybe on the page that it's its own kind of reality.
Well, it'd have to be. I mean, it's coming out of me and I'm
Hmm.
real, at least for temporarily. So,
All
so
right.
these are
So,
difficult questions.
uh-huh. Well, let's get back on track then. So
Okay.
crowd work versus crafted work. So if comics riff like influencers in the comments section in particular, and comedians perform like in reaction videos, where is the sweet spot?
I never really watched any comics on or comedians on um, well, yeah, I guess we do, but I don't know. YouTube has all kinds of comedians that come on YouTube, and I enjoy them very much. Um, but I really don't know how to answer that question. I'm not that uh, theoretical.
Ah, well, that's it's sometimes the higher self will come with the download. So just maybe in a minute the answer will come, right? So
Okay,
what
we'll see.
happens what right? So what happens when a comic leans too much into crowd work?
Leans in too much what?
Into crowd work?
Crowd work.
Yeah,
You mean
so would
standing up
you
in front of a crowd?
well, yes, but not just telling jokes, they're interacting with the audience more than just performing written material.
Well, I like to see that. I like to see the audience engaged. Not myself personally, but they'll pick on somebody and they'll work on them all night during their bit,
Hmm.
and I find that quite hilarious. I think the audience does too. So for them, that's a good tool. It's not available to me as somebody that, writes cartoons and writes screenplays.
Well, so that's I'll challenge you on that. That's partly because if when you do, in YouTube in particular, you have the comment section, so you can interact, right? So if you're posting online, you have interactions, which are obviously can also be chatbots and not all human. But at that point, wouldn't you consider that a form of crowd work?
No, I don't post anything online. I post my
Okay,
cartoon online, but
sure.
there's no comment section. The people can't
Oh, okay.
comment on it, or my screenplays or my scripts, feature scripts. There's no way for them to comment about it.
Okay. Well, maybe that's a new format that might be, the next step. Who knows, right?
Well, could
All
be.
right. All right. So advertising and self-promotion. Who advertises themselves more? The comic, the comedian, or the magician? You know that place where you're not conscious and you're not sleeping either? That's your power bill to the electric company. Right here. I want us to be here with free energy, where the Wardenclyffe Tower meets the Eiffel Tower. But that's not where we are. We are here, where you've got the utility and you've got residential solar. Between these two, we know which one saves you money. This is where we can go in the meantime. But this is where I want us to be now, and this can be done now. So let me deputize you to represent DOSE, Department of Solar Efficiency, and let's get on the podcast and get the message out today. See you soon.
Well, me personally, I do a lot of advertising. I get on Facebook with my ads for my cartoon, which incorporates my scripts and my sitcoms.
Okay.
So I can't judge those other people. I don't see them anywhere advertising, but except on YouTube, of course.
Right.
All those comics are on there. They're advertising when they do their stuff because they do multiple things, multiple shows. So we get a good one and we just follow them and check them out.
So you wouldn't say that Facebook is somewhat like a comment section as an audience?
Who?
Facebook.
Facebook. I'm
Yeah.
not on Facebook. My cartoon is on Facebook, but I personally am not on
Oh,
Facebook.
oh, I
Yeah.
see. So it's like a business page?
Yeah, I'm not into social media and that kind of
That's a
stuff.
tough. So, but
Yeah,
okay. So how are you managing that? I'm just curious. How it's a business page, right?
I can't hear you
The
very well.
the you're advertising on Facebook, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Is that a business page? You're just you have to have an account to do it to advertise on Facebook, right?
Mhm. Yeah, my web designer, Charles Hickman in Georgetown, Texas, he does all of that. He takes
Got
my
it.
ads, he picks out the audience we want to send it to because you can specify people in the entertainment industry. And then he
Hmm.
runs those ads and they reference my website. And then hopefully a producer will go to my website and look at my work and then call my entertainment attorney in Los Angeles and say, I want to buy this. That's my life. That's what I'm trying to do.
Got it. Okay. That's definitely, I guess we'll call it the traditional digital perspective, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
Okay.
So I'm taking it from a little more interactive. So if it's on Facebook, for example, the comment section or people actually having a conversation with it. So that would be the crowd work that I'm referring to.
Mhm.
So do you see
Beady, beady, beady,
self-promotion as
beady.
selling out, or is it necessary for survival?
Well, in a free enterprise economy, it's necessary for survival. You can't create anything if you don't promote it.
Right.
And it's be communistic if you couldn't have ads. It'd
Huh.
just be the committees that make all the decisions.
Yeah, and
That's
then
why
and then you give it away
communism
for
won't
free.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And there's other versions I'm sure we're going to get to. We're going to see that, and that's why Bitcoin is so important, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
think you're
here's
right.
the Oh yeah. So here's where it starts becoming relevant about censorship and offense. So does a comic avoid offense while a comedian courts it to prove a point like a magician?
Comic, I don't know about comics,
Okay.
but you're asking if a comedian, um, what was the question?
Courts offense to prove a point.
I wouldn't think so. Would
No?
you? I mean, would you want to tick off the audience in order to learn something? No, I don't think so.
I mean, I think you're gonna offend people no matter what, especially, yeah. I mean, I get people are offended because you don't cancel the same people that they want to cancel. And I don't even agree with canceling. So yeah, people get offended at the idea that I'm not offended at their idea. So at this point, I throw my hands in the air. So yeah, I think that
Are you a comedian or comic?
I do stand up. Yeah.
You do stand up. Where would I see you?
At the Comedy Chateau mainly.
Okay. Are you on
Yeah.
YouTube
I
for
well
comedy?
the podcast is, and so I'm
What?
developing, the whole project here. So
Okay, good,
absolutely,
good.
yeah.
Okay, well,
That's
good luck to you. I wish you the very best.
well, I
What else you got?
appreciate it.
Hmm.
Well, so who survives better in a cancel culture environment? The comic, the comedian, the magician, or the mudslinger?
Hmm. Good. That's a very strange question. I don't have an answer for it.
Oh,
You want to answer it for
okay.
me?
I don't,
Tell
but
me.
we'll just say the
Tell me.
mudslinger. It's probably the easiest one.
Really? You think so?
I think he'd be the
Mudslinger.
easy. I think he would survive the best in a cancel culture environment.
Okay. Okay.
Because what are you going to do
Define
with the guy?
countercultural.
Very
Define
countercultural.
countercultural.
You want me to define it? Well,
Yes.
in this case, well, universally it goes against the norm, but right now the norm is bifurcated, so it's not more than 50% of society. So at that point, I don't know what counterculture is. 25% of one of them, or you
Oh
have
no.
two of them and they're both. So I can't even define it.
I hear you. Okay.
Is there a new version that I'm not aware of?
Was that a
Of counter
question?
Yeah, is there a new version of counterculture that I'm not aware of?
No, not to my knowledge.
We could argue that Bitcoin is, right. So, a little more of an anarchical, right, non-governmental society. So that could be counterculture. Actually, that would probably be the most. I think most people would agree that Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency is a counterculture movement.
Yeah, they're the first currencies in human history that probably came out that weren't controlled by a government or a prince or a king. They're the people's money. And then the people are not regulated by the government. They Fortunately, Bitcoin has set up a protocol where they only produce 21 million coins, which means they can't inflate the currency the way governments inflate currencies. They print money and the currency drops in value. But if you only have a fixed number of Bitcoins, that's why the price goes up because they're not going to make any more of them.
Now, Rick, would you say it's a currency or it is a finite commodity? Because if we don't, a currency, it does hold many of those properties, but it's not necessarily something that you have as a universal means of exchange because not everybody is using it.
Well, currency has always been defined as a store of value and a medium of exchange, and it does both. You
I
can
don't dis.
a lot of
I don't dis. I'm 100% a Bitcoin proponent. Here's my one caveat though:
okay.
is with quantum computing. There's going to be a new chain of Bitcoin to survive quantum encryption, to provide quantum encryption. So at that point, if you don't upgrade your Bitcoin onto the new network, a new fork of Bitcoin, you will potentially lose your old Bitcoin. So at that point, are you sure that it's not government controlled?
Well, Trump's all for no government control. He actually wants to make it a currency reserve for the United States dollar.
Ah,
So I don't think we're going to see it. And anyway, my son is Crypto Dad on YouTube. He's been doing it for 10 years. He
okay.
would tell me if I needed to move my Bitcoin to this other thing. So
No, it's
he's
just
on YouTube.
upgrading. Sure, you would just have to update your, it'd be a new chain, basically. That's quantum resistant, but that's for hopefully not about 2 years from now. We'll have to worry about that, right?
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
with Bitcoin, we now have about 10,000 crypto coins,
oh yeah.
different. There's quite a quantity of them, but I'm sticking with Bitcoin.
100%. Yeah, definitely,
Yep.
definitely the one to
Yep.
put your time and effort into, if any. So, laughter versus applause. So, are comics chasing laughs and comedians chasing applause breaks that validate the message?
No, I think I'm also trying to make people laugh because uh, life's a lot of pressure. And if you can bring laughter to people, it makes things a little easier for them and a little more enjoyable. So I'm all for trying to make people laugh.
100%. So, so comedy is commentary. When does a comedian cross into being a philosopher or a preacher?
Well, I think you're always, that's in there, but it's not overt. It's just kind of covert. He's got it within himself. And he's not telling people that he's doing it, but I can do it. I can write it, make it come out like I want it to, but I'm not
Mhm.
overtly saying, that I'm against this or whatever. So let my characters do my talking for me.
Ah, so is that good or does it dilute the humor?
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's great. I mean, people know it's a comic. They're not real. So you just go with it. We all grew up with comics, or at least those of us at my age grew up with comic books, and we know it wasn't real, but taught us a lot about life. I can tell you that.
For sure. So, not being real, but it does tend to predict the future, like The Simpsons, or maybe heavily critical, like South Park, right?
I don't
So,
watch South Park. I don't know
but
it.
oh, you don't know? Okay.
No, no.
Well, that I won't contextualize. So,
How
just
about
to
the
maybe
Jetsons? How do them?
okay, the Jetsons. So, well, how would that was actually pretty prolific, prolific? Yes, we'll go with that. They did make a lot, but the future that they described is almost happening now, right? And
Yeah,
I mean, that's we got to say that's
insightful.
very
Yeah, well, that's
very
yeah.
similar to The Simpsons. So, okay, so we've got a tradition here on the Comedians and Elevators podcast where the previous guest has a question for the next guest. All right. So the previous guest was Michael Tabling, and he has a question for you. And the
Yeah, I saw
question
Michael on your show.
you did,
Yeah,
I haven't put it up
wasn't.
yet.
Oh,
There's a
man, I was
probably a
talking.
different
I was just.
Michael.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, I've had a couple Michaels. But
okay.
yeah, this episode he hasn't been uploaded yet, so you couldn't have possibly seen the question. So
Gotcha.
the question is, what made you choose to be on the podcast? What drove you to be here?
Well, I've been hearing about podcasts all the time, and a lot of them are, about somebody that was killed and they're debating it to death and serial
Uh,
killers. And when I heard about yours, I thought, well, this is interesting. And I think you contacted me on LinkedIn because you saw that I was going on Dave's show. And so
I
we
think.
just connected and you
Mhm.
invited me, and damn it, here I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is the whole new economy basically, and
Yeah, yeah.
Bitcoin will be a part of it. So, okay, so awesome. So, last question.
Yes.
It's about legacy. Who gets remembered? Will the comics Type 5 survive time, or will the comedian's cultural point of view be more timeless?
I think the comic will survive time. I mean, there were comedies back in the 50s and late 40s. I don't remember them. I might have watched them, but these cartoons go on,
Hmm.
and you can get cartoons from the old days. Um, they they're out there, but when somebody passes away, it's kind of like Milton Berle or George Burns, or their comedy is it's over. It's not remembered, in my opinion.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Is that right? You
Well,
think
that
that's fair?
I think it's very, very true when the comic is writing, and especially the comic, in a cartoon format, because since it's a lot of times really diving deep into a subject,
Yeah,
and tends to be future looking, that yeah, it will stay relevant longer. So
yeah, yeah.
awesome. Well, so Rick, where can everybody find you online?
Uh, it's jack.com, excuse me, jack-jan.com. It's a
Okay.
story about Jack the Bear and Jan, his best friend, a 14-year-old girl, and they debate life and get into all kinds of things. And her little brother is Matthew, who only speaks in quotes. And he
Okay.
says it's because quotes make a point, conversations rarely make a point. So you can't talk to him or he won't talk to you, but he'll quote a quote on the site, kind of synopsizing what they were discussing, and it comes out either positive or negative in his mind.
Are these quotes historical, like you can look them up, or are they invented?
Yeah, you go on to Google and put in quotes for this, quote for that. There's a whole list of them. So yeah, I
Interesting.
didn't originate the quotes. I just grabbed somebody like Mark Twain, and
Yeah, Mark.
I give him credit for it.
Yeah, Mark Twain's got some great one-liners. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for being my guest. And for everyone else, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.
Good luck with your career.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.